thank you for coming here. I'm so excited to be able to ask you some questions. The first thing I was really curious about is your book itself. In this sea of books that we have for writers about publishing and marketing and everything, why your book? Why your book right now?
Really, that's a good question because there are a lot of great books out there. So I think that at least from what people have said, that it's very conversational, it's not intimidating, and it's basically is how I speak. So I'm not that scary, right? So
no, you're not scary at all.
I put
so good.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I put there are like 250 links in it, and there's just very basic, easy to understand and easy to accomplish. So if you're shy or if you don't want to bite off too big of a chunk, which I tend to do, I talk about mistakes, do's and don'ts. And it's not only my experiences. I interviewed like 60 plus authors and illustrators and librarians and teachers and all kinds of people. So if that's what you want, then my book would be great. The one.
Oh, definitely. Well, and I love that it's in a conversational style. I think that's lost sometimes in the books, and it's really important. So awesome. Okay. So what has been your favorite part of this journey in publication altogether? Your favorite thing?
For this book.
For this book.
Okay. My favorite thing is the hardest thing in terms of what I've learned is how to publish an ebook. Oh my gosh, it was so hard because I couldn't figure out. And even last night, I was talking to my husband and I said, well, I was talking about how to actually, the differences between an EPUB and a .mobi. I could not believe, I stopped. I was like, oh my gosh, I actually understand this. So the fact that it was really confusing, it seems like
it's really hard.
I know. So I was saying, well, about the floating object versus the inline object and why you have to do that. And the reason in a little mini tutorial is that when you have an image, and I have a lot of images in this book, but I'm a picture book author, so that's how I think. So if you have an image and it's inline, then that means that the image, if somebody changes the font size, then no matter what size they change it to, the picture will stay in line with the word. So if it says this image to the right, that image to the right will still be there. But if you do floating, then the image does not stay with the text. So if somebody makes it big, it's no good. So that's why you can do that for a .mobi, but you can't do that for an EPUB, because an EPUB, people have their iPad and they can change different the way they look, the way they're reading it. I can write, but I can't speak so well. And so that's why you want to keep it in line. It's very frustrating because things move. I'm not really a designer. I mean, I'm definitely not a designer. So learning it was a really great thing. But I'd have to say that's a sort of a concrete thing. But the most wonderful thing about this is how all the people I've met, all the people I've helped, which as sappy as it sounds, I really like that. So
no, I get it.
Yeah. And it's pretty much the basis of the book too, is reciprocity and putting it out there and connecting with people and making it a real thing and not just, here's my book, here's my book, here's my book.
Exactly. Very good. I like that. I like both those answers. And yes, e-publishing is so much harder than people realize.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Everyone says
you
that.
Could just publish it on the internet. Right. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So much for just. Yeah. Okay, so last question. Since you have all these interviews you did and this great book with all this advice, what would be your one single piece of advice, your best piece that you have for people?
It goes back to connection and reciprocity. I mean, I get boring with how much I say it, but I'm surprised at how often people don't. Like people I might follow on Twitter, they're always talking about, look what I did, and I tend to not follow them after a while. I want to learn from people, and I want to grow from what I'm reading and all that. And I really think that if you are doing something, it's so easy to reciprocate. So you're talking about somebody's book, link them. How hard is that? I mean, it takes a couple extra seconds. Or talk about other people. I used to be really, I admit, I was just so self-focused when I first started, because you do feel very desperate to get your book in front of people's faces. So I understand that urge, but you've got to resist it. And it actually gets really boring after a while. I mean, I bored my own self. So, so finally, I started looking outwards, and I started thinking about how I could help other people, and not even that consciously. I just was. And then I started seeing my world was just opening up to the point of really people started coming back to me. And a lot of the interviews I've done, I'm doing a podcast for this particular ebook launch week. And everybody I spoke to, all the blog tour hosts, have told me that every fail that they've had in promotion or publicity is when they've tried to manipulate the audience. And every time they've succeeded, it's because they are doing something for someone else. And it's really amazing. I mean, Elizabeth Odulemba is a perfect example of this. She does these Coloring Page Tuesdays, and she just gives them out. I mean, teachers, everyone. She is now up to in the last 2 years, she had 3 million hits on her website.
Wow.
I know. And it's because she's giving stuff. And the more you give, the more you get. It's sappy, but I mean, I really would prefer to be cynical, because it's much funnier to be negative and cynical, but it's true. The more you put out, the better it is.
Well, it is true. You're absolutely right. So very good. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be part of this. I've been very excited to watch this whole journey unfold for you. And it's an exciting time. Thank you for taking the time.
No, I really appreciate you hosting me on your blog and putting that out. I mean, this is a perfect example of reciprocity also. So
exactly.
Thank you.
Well, very good. You're welcome.